Natalie Esquire, no place in the game for what Sophie Cunningham did. That warrants further review and penalty from the league. Penalty from the league, huh? Penalty from the league, huh? Natalie Esquire. Penalty from the league when Marina Marbury assaulted Caitlin Clark. Krista said, "Oh, I get so it's sweet when Caitlin Clark getting blindsided. Who, mind you, should be ejected, but Sophie gives JC a hard foul and no place in the game for that." Sophie Cunningham did. You ever get tired of talking out your this league is full of nothing. Man, I'm telling you guys, this league, bro, I'm
downright insane. Sophie Cunningham did not just help Caitlin Clark up, she practically body blocked the entire WNBA. Hate parade to do it, and now an analyst wants her arrested for what? Assault by kindness. This league has gone full WWE with less spandex and more drama. Sophie played security guard, bestie, and emotional support bouncer, all in one, and now she is the villain. At this rate, we will need referees and riot shields. Welcome to the madness.
As we saw last night, Sophie Cunningham sent a clear message to J.C. Sheldon last night, of course, with the foul at the very end of the game. By the way, all of a sudden the refs were all about ejecting people out of games at that point. Much too late. It was a total officiating failure again. God, if it's not a physical incident, it's an officiating failure we're talking about. And frankly, that's nearly every...
That is right, because in today's upside-down WNBA circus, standing up for your teammate is now a crime. Welcome to the league, where common sense is suspended, jealousy runs the court, and the referees are apparently too busy updating their resumes to actually blow a whistle. You want justice? Buckle up. We are about to take a trip through the most ridiculous meltdown in women's basketball this year.
Natalie Esquire is literally going on a rant. She's going on a rant right now about this whole situation with the league and what they doing with Sophie Cunningham. This is crazy. This is crazy right now. Crazy work. Crazy.
Clark, the walking target of the WNBA, gets body slammed into the hardwood more often than a WWE rookie. The refs, oh, they just blink slowly and act like they are watching birds fly across the arena ceiling. And when Sophie Cunningham finally had the audacity to say "not today, Satan," and clap back on behalf of Caitlin, suddenly we have got analysts demanding she be hauled off in handcuffs like she just robbed a Chase Bank with a hockey stick. Subscribe. Shout out to Sophie, the trophy, half of the Blonde Bombers, Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham held it down. Sophie, let me know. I will Uber Eats, DoorDash you whatever you want to eat tonight. You want some Popeyes? You want me to send you a Chipotle bowl? You want to go high end? You want some towel? Whatever you want, I will walk to Indiana. I will walk barefoot to Indiana to... This straight Sophie Cunningham did not go rogue. She did not throw a chair. She did not bring brass knuckles to a layup. She stood up to a team, acting like they were in a parking lot brawl instead of a basketball game. But somehow this moment of basic human decency has triggered an avalanche of pearl clutching from analysts who think Sophie is the second coming of Al Capone. Please, 1,000,000%.
1,000,000% did what was deserved to JC Sheldon. And the commentators are on the money. They're on the money. Like, someone's commented there, I feel like Sophie Cunningham is the only one who would have done something back if she was on the floor. Sophie Cunningham got her. Sophie Cunningham got her. And I mean this when I say this. This would have been a flagrant 2, except for the fact that they allowed Marina Mabrey did what she did. This possibly should be a flagrant 2. She got her around the neck. And then JC Sheldon gets up, and then Sophie immediately goes at JC Sheldon, grabs her. Like, I'm okay with this being a flagrant 2, by the way. I'm actually okay with that. I'm okay with that. But, like, not when Marina Mabrey got away with it. Not when Marina Mabrey got away with it. The referee...
Taking hits left and right all season, cheap shots, shoulder checks, face slaps, elbows thrown with all the grace of a drunk kangaroo. And what is the punishment? Nothing. The officials stand there like malfunctioning wax statues. Apparently the new WNBA motto is, if it is against Caitlin Clark, it is totally fine, but heaven help you if you defend Caitlin. Suddenly the WNBA moral police come sprinting out like mall cops chasing a kid with a Nerf gun. Sophie Cunningham steps up one time when glorious necessary time, and now we have got keyboard warriors foaming at the mouth, tweeting like she pulled a Tanya Harding. And let us be real, here the hate against Caitlin Clark is not even subtle anymore. It is not competitive tension, it is not rookie initiation, and it is definitely not hard basketball. It is jealousy, it is resentment, it is a league full of players watching someone younger, more talented and far more popular steal their spotlight like it is a half-off clearance sale at Macy's, and rather than stepping up their game, they are out here throwing cheap elbows and acting like it is justified. Sophie Cunningham said no more. She did not need a podium, she did not need a press conference, she let her actions do the talking. An arm around Caitlin, a shove in return, a vibe check to the whole Sun team that screamed, you mess with her, you mess with all of us, and for that she is supposed to be arrested. Nah, she needs a gold medal, a parade, and maybe a Netflix documentary titled Sophie versus the WNBA mob. Definitely the W.
You, especially if Sophie Cunningham is going to continue to fight people for messing with Caitlin Clark, because it feels like Caitlin Clark is going to get treated in a certain way in this league for a long time. She's not a rookie anymore. Okay? She's already proved herself. She's won. And then there were some, ladies last night that were trying to go a little physical. And in last year, I think something we noticed, and I think a lot of people noticed, is when Caitlin would get bullied, nobody would do nothing.
That's right.
Nobody would do nothing. It was like, hey, they didn't know, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe people are doing this to Caitlin Clark. Teammates weren't jumping in there. They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah. Yep.
Boom! Wow. JC Sheldon, that's cute. You want to poke her in the eye? Then
know what is even more insane? The WNBA analyst demanding her arrest probably watched that entire sequence while eating popcorn and ignoring the 900 flagrant fouls committed by the Sun. Where is the outrage over that? Where is the demand to eject the entire officiating crew, who apparently confused Kane Clark with a piñata? If anyone should be arrested, it is the refs for impersonating competent officials. Let us talk about the refs for a second. These guys are so blind. Stevie Wonder starting to feel embarrassed for them. They miss more fouls than your uncle misses tax deadlines. The entire Fever roster could be turned into a UFC highlight reel, and these refs would still be blinking slowly, waiting for a commercial break. But hey, maybe they are just taking orders. After all, word on the street is that the commissioner office is doing everything it can to humble Caitlin Clark, because God forbid the league most exciting player actually shines. So now we are left with a conspiracy theory more believable than half the stuff on Netflix. The refs are just following orders from upstairs. If that is true, then it is not just Sophie who deserves a medal, it is every Fever player for not walking off the court and forming their own league. And can we take a moment to acknowledge how personal this attack was? The Sun team was not playing basketball, they were playing Mean Girls in sneakers. It was personal, it was bitter, and it was obvious. You do not need a slow mash magic replay to see that Caitlin Clark was targeted like she insulted someone grandma at a family reunion, and when Sophie stepped in, it was not just sportsmanship, it was self-defense.
This is the foul heard around the world from an angle. Look, Caitlin gets her eye raked. That's basketball. That is not basketball. Okay, there was a foul there that was just basketball. And look, I don't want to hear anything about race. That's a white chick. That
was not assault, it was attitude adjustment. It was a long overdue reality check for a league that is become more concerned with maintaining its power hierarchy than protecting its players. Sophie Cunningham is not a criminal, she is a hero. The WNBA analyst calling for her arrest, that is comedy, that is satire, that is clown shoes on a full-grown adult. And speaking of clown shoes, have you seen the reaction from some fans? Suddenly everyone is a lawyer, a referee, and a behavioral specialist. They are Quoting league rules like they passed the bar exam, they are dissecting slow-mo footage like it is the Zapruder film they are labeling Sophie as dangerous while cheering on players who have been tackling Caitlin Clark like she is holding the last piece of cake at a birthday party. Newsflash, you cannot have it both ways. You cannot demand toughness in the league and then cry foul when someone like Sophie dishes it right back. If you want a powder puff league, go knit something. This is basketball. It is physical, it is emotional, and sometimes when the refs are doing less than a paperweight, it is downright necessary to stand your ground. And let us not forget, if you really want to start filing assault charges, you better get busy. Half the WNBA is going to jail. Every elbow, every shove, every trip, grab your handcuffs. The courthouse is going to need a bigger bench. But no, let us make Sophie the scapegoat. Let us pretend she was the one out of line for not letting her teammate get mugged on the court.
What they don't understand, the fans are speaking loud. There's no confusion. But fans don't like to be ignored. They don't. Well, it's a vocal minority. No, it's not. No, it's not. The new fans outnumber the old fans 3-1, maybe even 4-1. It is a vocal majority.
Honestly, it's getting ridiculous. The WNBA should be celebrating that someone like Caitlin Clark is bringing in the views, the money, the spotlight, the actual buzz, but instead they're acting like she's a problem they can't wait to go away, and now they're turning on the one teammate who actually had the courage to stand up and say enough is enough. That's not drama, that's loyalty, that's leadership, that's exactly what every team should pray for. And now the fans, they're not just upset, they're done. They've watched this madness play out game after game, and finally someone said what needed to be said loud, proud, and with zero regrets. Sophie wasn't out of control. She was the response, the answer to weeks of watching Caitlin get shoved, tossed, and bullied like she was at a demolition derby while everyone else called it good defense. Let's be real, the WNBA has turned into a soap opera, and not even the entertaining kind. It's not sports with emotion, it's jealousy with elbows, and the new girl is the target, and who usually acts like that. Oh yeah, middle schooler.
And by the way, the commentators were on the money. The commentators literally said they're on the money. They said that situation was on the referees, because the referees had just done their job earlier in the game. Sophie Cunningham doesn't have to try.
This league was meant to be a stage for talent, toughness, and real competition, not a rerun of Mean Girls with sneakers. So when Sophie stepped up, it hit like a shockwave across the court, saying loud and clear, we're not letting this slide anymore. And that scared people, because once one person says the quiet part out loud, it exposes the whole circus. Suddenly analysts are panicking, coaches are sweating, and players who loved the girl power mantra are allergic to owning up. And by the way,